Those are the two numbers I'd focus on, 30% to the team, and then how do we make a 20% net and could it run without the owner? Those would be like two things I'd start with.
Welcome to the Home Service Chad Podcast, the show for home service entrepreneurs who don't just want to make money, but who also want to build elite lives and create impact. Each week, Louis sits down with high performers in home services to uncover the secrets to their success. No fluff, no shortcuts, just real conversations with those doing the work. Now, here's your host, Louis Moucher.
Alrighty guys, welcome back to another episode. I got a big guest in the house today. David Moerman, former owner of Revive Services, sold Revive, CEO, founder, home service business coach. He's a dad, and he's also host of the Home Service Business Coach podcast. David, I appreciate you coming on. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm actually in David's coaching program, the Scale Blueprint Coaching Program. So yeah, man, I appreciate you making time. For anyone who's like doesn't really know who you are, or home service business coach, you want to just give like, quick backstory. Usually like to get into, how you got into home service, Revive, stuff like that, and then the coaching stuff. So
For sure, Louis. Thanks for having me on, man. Love what you're doing in this space. In a 60-second big picture, I graded high school on a soccer scholarship. I went to play high-level soccer. And a year into my scholarship, I got back-to-back concussions. So I saw all kinds of head doctors that said, Dave, you actually can't play soccer anymore. So I was gutted, and my friend actually bumped into a campus recruiter that they were looking for young hustlers to run a student painting business. So they hooked me in on their webinar, said you can make $20K in a summer. And like, my parents were pretty split. My mom was like, don't touch this with a 10-foot pole. My dad was like, let her rip, son, go for it. So I sided with my dad. And man, the first 2 years was just such a scrappy start. I maybe made 10K in my first summer, working 16-hour days, just trying to figure it all out. And that gave me my first taste for home services and entrepreneurship. And in the last 16 years, man, I've spent the better part of my life just scaling up home service companies. So I built 2 painting businesses from the ground up. I built an exterior cleaning business, which you mentioned I recently exited. And then the last 4 years, I've had my focus on my consulting business. So I kind of been around the game for some time, and I've seen a lot. And also everything I now teach is something that I've done and learned the hard way. But for me, it wasn't any uncle with money or any private equity money or anything sexy. It was just like Dave with a 1991 Mazda pickup truck, no debt, never had debt in the businesses I built either. So I feel like I'm the poster boy for, bootstrapping, not overspending in marketing. And then the biggest thing, man, I pride myself on is like business success. Yeah, but I think I've done a really good job being like a present husband and dad over the last number of years too, which I'm like most proud of, is the time freedom the businesses have given me.
Sweet. Well, we were kind of talking about this before, but obviously my audience is like a lot of young guys, a lot of young home service guys. Maybe they're like ripping doors and they got guys cleaning, stuff like that. And what I was saying was a big thing I've learned from you guys, and especially working with Jackson, stuff like that, is just like the basics of, running a legit business. And like, we never had employment agreements. We never had like, SOPs, stuff like that, checklists with jobs. And, knowing like where certain numbers should be at. So you want to just kind of straight up jump into like, a 500K business, what everything should be looking like.
Sure.
Like what this general structure of a business should be like.
Yeah, man, absolutely. So yeah, we'll go just 500K. So
like a window business or something.
Yeah, sure, man. Window cleaning, 500K, like a base net profit. I would be targeting as a minimum 20%. So we got to be making 100K off that thing. So I guess before we get any further, too, man, all these YouTube thumbnails, everything, they're like, oh, Louis made 500 grand this year. It's like, revenue's a lot different than the bottom line net profit. So I believe in service businesses running independent of Dave and Louis and still making that 20% net profit. So the last 4 years at Revive, I put 2 managers in place and I was only in the office every second Wednesday for a meeting. So it was like completely optimized with systems, and Revive was over here and Dave was over here. So I think that's a really important mindset. The business is not Dave. There's a link between them, but it should run separately. The biggest
what
cost,
kind of bottom line were you guys running?
We were 20%.
Like when you were just
20%.
like fully out.
Yeah, 20% was our target, and we floated right around that every year, as low as 15, and some years as high as 25. Just depended on were we like paying cash for a new truck. One year we wrapped, 4 vehicles in 1 year. So depending on the growth of the business, but 20% was a target, and we were pretty close to that. The biggest cost though, man, on a profit and loss is going to be that direct labor, which is, for the structure of 500K in window cleaning, you should be able to do that, I would say, with 2 crews of 2 technicians on each crew. Now, depending on the market, you may need a 3rd crew. We've got a whole bunch of companies we're working with now. Some companies are going to the one person crew model, which works good too. But usually, man, 30% of that 500K will go to the dudes or the girls in the field doing actually on the glass. So that's like a lot of companies we work with, man, their direct labor will be 45, 55, 65%. And it just, you're screwed before even the gun goes off and starts the race. So that's just like the biggest thing. Those are the 2 numbers I'd focus on: 30% to the team, and then how do we make a 20% net, and could it run without the owner? Those would be like 2 things I'd start with.
That was us last year. We were like, I had 1 guy in 1 van and then 2 guys in a different van. And the 1 van could do like about 1K a day with the 1 guy. But the other 2 guys, I was basically like, okay, cool. If I'm paying them half or less than half of what they're making, like, we're chilling. That's what I was thinking. But and like it wasn't like we didn't lose money because I was kind of doing everything in the office. I was doing all the marketing. So it was really just our labor that we really had to pay for. But like if we still had labor at 50% now I've got a guy like managing and doing office stuff, we'd be cooked. So
well, that's what people think, man. They think, oh, if I give half the job to the guys, but they're not factoring in, man, we need to pay someone in the office. If you grow to where we did, we had a full-time salesperson doing the estimates. If you grow beyond 3 crews, you're going to need a production manager. And then you got to also cover credit card fees, your marketing fees. If you want to, I know you're really bullish on your own education. All that stuff you can write off as well. So I think people just think there's more money than there actually is. And you just like that 30% has just always guided me well. And some people might listen to this and say, I'm doing it for 20 or I'm doing it for 35. That's fine. But just, we don't want to be sky high, what you mentioned, half the job going to the guys to do the cleaning. It's not an effective way to grow a business.
Yeah, for sure. Something I want to ask you too is like, so you obviously grew all cash, no financing, vehicle, stuff like that. What's your whole take on financing? And
so let's set context, man. A lot of people don't talk about this. Is like when I really grew my business was 2018, 19, 20, 2021, 2022. Those are like gravy days, man, of home services too, where things were less expensive. We lived through this like COVID pandemic where everyone was stuck at home, and like there was some years, man, we barely had to do marketing. Our phone would just ring off the hook. So I think
did you guys rip during COVID?
We did, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, real estate was ripping here, man. The very house I lived in, man, went up from $1.1 million and I sold it for $1.9 million. So I made $800 in the house I lived in just through a 2.5 year blip. So everything was overvalued. Houses were overvalued. That's like my side hobby is kind of real estate investing. Home service businesses were exiting for crazy multiples as well.
And that's when Tommy Mello sold, right?
Exactly, yeah. And you also had just crazy built up demand because you got to look at, man, like our target customer for Revive, their household income is north of $200K. They would usually put in $20,000 to take the family to Mexico or Hawaii or do whatever. When they couldn't do that, they're sitting on cash so long as their job was good. They're working remote. that they were doing turf in their backyard, the Trex deck in the backyard. Okay, write Revive a $2,000 check, wash the house, we'll get Christmas lights. So it was just like a feast time. So my point is, though, like, why I got out of the game was to focus on HSBC. But if I ever do get back in the game, I would think about potentially starting with some initial seed money. And I'm a big fan, man, of just betting on the entrepreneur. And I think if someone's been responsible with little, for them to have a bit of seed money to get started, I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, you've seen the benefit in our program. You rebranded with Sergio. All those things took 10, 20 grand to do, but it's like, I think those are going to be strong investments over the long term. So I think my answer, like in business, it depends, but I just think, man, most companies can rip up to 250, 500K without really needing like a big investment. If you want to put 20 grand in and hire us and hire Sergio and get some marketing, I think that's totally legit. But, you know, to go get $100 grand loan so you can get a brand new F350, I would just be cautious with that. So it just depends.
Yeah. You got to know what you're doing first so that you can actually afford it, right?
Totally. But I think most people on your channel here, like 90%, my advice would be, how could you squeeze more out of the orange and not go get financing? If you've scaled a business before and know what you're doing, I'd be way more open-minded. But I just think, you know, home services, it's a low barrier to entry. I don't think you really need a whole pile of money to get started. At least that's why I got in originally as well.
For sure. So for like all the young guys out there, what would you tell a guy who's, you know, maybe who's trying to get off the truck? Because I think that's the other thing that you're, you know, big about, or you really understand. He's maybe got like one helper. He rips jobs with the helper. Maybe he's not confident to let him go out alone. You know, doing like maybe a little over $1,000 a day washing windows. He's doing all the marketing, all that stuff. What would you tell this guy?
I would get that guy
if he wants to keep growing.
Yeah, dude, I would get him to read 2 books for me to start. One would be the EMyth, standing up right here. The other, somewhere on my shelf at the end, is a book called Who Not How. And I think that would be the first thing I would do, is frame up this guy's mindset for growth. You got to have a light bulb go off, man, where you're like, holy shit, the business isn't Louis cleaning windows. It's actually a customer service business that can be systematized and function without Louis. And that's, for me, when business gets really exciting, when the owner has their eyes open for what's possible. So I would say that owner's really got to find their who. And I think for me, man, my first year I did 89 grand out of the gate. I wasn't on after the first month, man. I wasn't on a lot of job sites. I had my who with a guy named Graham. He lifted weights. He was in university, and I paid him $18 an hour to clean glass for me. And I would stop in and help him out. And man, what I would do, I would just go door knock the neighborhoods that Graham was working in. Hey, I got my guy Graham up the street. Do you want us to polish your windows as well? So I just overnight became this like marketer. I saw myself as a marketer. I saw myself as a business development manager, not as a technician, because I knew Graham had it handled. So that's why I'm just so bullish on off the truck, because I think you're.
So you went off the truck like right away.
I'd say, it's hard to remember. I would say within 2 months. Like, it definitely wasn't longer than 2 months, but I think it was about a month or 6 weeks or so. And we were 89K in the first year with a 189 Ryobi power washer. And dude, no one joins my coaching program to learn what the best equipment is. That's not what I'm touching. I'm showing you a business and exactly. I'm showing any technical questions in our group are just like denied. It's all like business systems and management. And so that's like, it just comes down to like a mindset, man. But I think even if someone has $1,000 in their bank account, the fact that they're on your channel watching stuff, getting free help, I think that's like a great place to start.
Sweet. Yeah, dude, the EMyth was like, I read it back in the spring, and it's like, I know, it made me realize there's like, you know, the technician, the manager, and then the
Yep,
entrepreneur, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I realized like one of the technicians that we had this year that I was kind of hoping would, kind of hybrid into like a production manager was just not a manager. He was like a really good technician. He could clean like 1,200 in Windows solo, but it's like a completely different guy who,
Yeah, so each one of those roles, man, to go a little deeper, they're all like reading a different playbook or teleprompter, right? The technician's
Right.
thinking about what's on my job or schedule today. Okay, I got $1,000 day. I got to get across town. I got to be there by this time. I got to do a good job, get a review. That's important for the business. The manager's thinking, what's on the schedule for this week? I got to move some stuff around. I'm checking the weather. I'm kind of being forward thinking for the week. But the entrepreneur, man, is planning stuff 3, 6, 9, 12 months in the future. Like, what does this thing actually look like when it's built? What's
it's almost
our
just like a
vision?
time frame.
Exactly, yeah.
The technicians day to day,
Yep.
managers like weekly, month, and then
Yep, definitely. And I think you'll get paid in this world for the size of problems that you solve. So the technician is solving the problem of cleaning 30 panes on this job. The manager is solving the problem of corralling a team and making a match from the team to the homeowner. And the entrepreneur is solving the problem saying, well, this whole market, what's my total addressable market? I think this could have, 4 crews in here and we could rip at, $1 million, 1.5, 2 million in the next 5 years. Let's actually work backwards to achieving that. And the entrepreneur is not going to get paid today, probably not this month, maybe not this year, but they will get paid when they build a system that like runs without them. And here's the thing, man, 80% of trades businesses, they don't even crack 500K. So like what you're running in your business, you're already in the top 20%, which is just like,
we're not there yet, but
you're going to get there. I just think like most people
yeah.
this
Well, it's because a lot of
get
guys
to
are
10.
just like one mans, right?
Exactly.
One or two,
So I
and
think,
you max out at a couple $100,000.
Yep. So I think, man, today you could build a 500K profitable business and you could count all your employees on one hand, like office assistant, the owner, Louis, and then I would say 3, maybe 4 techs. And you're like, you're pretty
And that'd
much
be
there.
500.
Yep. And,
Yeah.
profitable. Window cleaning's nice because it's recurring. And you do what you did. You rebrand. You find a better area to plant your flag in. And you just become a savage marketer. Your problem in 2 years is going to be finding qualified staff that you can keep year round. I'm already calling it right now. So
That's why I'm doing this and the socials. I think that's what it'll.
like you're going to use this as a talent acquisition strategy.
I think so. It's
like
already one of our, we haven't started ripping down here in Kelowna yet, but I've got a guy starting in 2 weeks, and he actually came from the socials. So he's been kind of following Arctic Shine for a year or so. And
either that, man, or you link up with Dan Martell and start helping him out with some of his stuff. Honestly, man, you should look at his program. Helped me quite a bit this year. Just thinking bigger.
Okay.
And I think that might be something, given you're in Kelowna, to investigate too.
it's like it's pretty like coaching, right?
Yeah, I was coaching. I did it to start this year. Actually, Jackson and I got 2 seats in his program and went through his stuff. And we just wanted to get in a bigger room and start seeing how a 8-figure coaching business functions. And so we learned a lot. And it was for me, it was about mindset joining him.
Yeah. What would you say was your biggest takeaway?
Man, I think just like...
Are you still in it?
I'm not in it right now, but Jackson and I are talking just capacity issue. We both had a lot on our plate, but might be something I look at going back into. But probably the biggest thing, man, is just, Dan told me on a call, he said, a CEO only does 3 things in 3 words, right? Vision, people, and money. He's like, if you're ever not in those 3 categories, you're wasting your time. And I'm just like, man, it's something I've always held true this year. I just thought, vision, people, and money. So if you're worrying about the day-to-day stuff, like it's got to get done, but the big
operations
picture, exactly, yeah, like
sales.
you got to get it done, exactly. But the big picture is, are we driving vision? Who's on the team? And then is the money taken care of? And the biggest thing, man, for a guy like you, you got to figure out, to the little guy, I'm telling, like, are you a sales guy or are you an operations guy? And I think for you, Louis, what I see, I think you're more of a sales guy. I really do. And I think you need to find your steady Eddie right-hand guy or girl that you could pay $30 an hour year round in Kelowna, and they're just going to handle your ops. I did this 6 years ago. I didn't even go on a job site, and we did like 700 jobs in a year.
This was Steve, right?
This was actually my buddy Austin.
Okay.
We ripped up from 155 to 582 in a single summer.
Wow.
It was crazy. But do you know why, man? Because I wasn't on the job site.
Yeah,
Austin
you didn't have to worry.
Everything. I gave him 8% of everything he produced. He made about $60K. He ran all the team meetings. He hired all the techs. He trained them all. He dealt with all the flat tires, all the stuff you're dealing with. I didn't have to touch ops for a whole year. I said, I want to just rip this thing. And so that was a bet that I made to drive into sales and marketing, and it did pay off in the long run. So I think the owners just got to get their nose out of the day-to-day in production.
Do you think the owner, or the founder, is usually the guy who's not the operator, or
Generally,
who's more like the vision
correct.
guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you read Traction, Gino will tell you, if you look
Gino
at all the entrepreneurs on earth, you're either a visionary or you're integrator. Like left or right. You're either the big vision or you're like get it done. Only 5% of entrepreneurs like actually truly are both. So if you actually look at me, man, I actually have more integrator tendencies. Like I can, that's why I went in Dan's thing. I'm like, he's talking about 8 figures and 100 mil. I'm like, holy cows, this is blowing my mind. Where I'm way more like, let's build it, like let's structure it. I like doing the day to day, but in home services for me, I think I just did it so long. I got so tired of the callbacks and the broken squeegees and the flat tires. I'm like, I could put someone in place. So I think the owner, I think, should be the face and the attractive character of the business. And I think they should find a right-hand person they can pay year round just to run operations.
Okay. This is kind of like an operations guy.
Exactly. You got to find your match. And other listeners on your show, man, they might not be great with people and not like sales. Then you got to go find your salesperson, and then the owner can oversee the crews. But just, you can't try and do it all, because when you went into business for yourself, you got 40 hours a week to build the business, and you also have 40 hours a week in the business. So you got to start to take off some of the hats.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of wish I was that visionary, and like I got a big vision for the company, but I do love like the ops, and and like building, trying to optimize our trucks and doing stuff. But then I also love like marketing stuff and making Facebook ads and working on the brand, stuff like that. So I don't know. We'll see.
You need to get your data.
Do you think I'm more of like a yeah?
I think you should not be on Jobber more than one time a day for 15 minutes. And that's going to screw you if you're trying to move crews around and answer emails. And like, I would just write out what's the 3 biggest things you can do. I would be making content for the brand and stuff like this. I would be hunting hard through this year to find your right-hand guy you could be locking arms with for the next 3 years to truly build like a 7-figure business. And I don't think you need to give up equity for that, by the way. And then the other thing I would be doing is just overseeing talent acquisition. Like I helped Austin with bringing in technicians. I was recruiting, I was hitting career fairs. I was doing everything to bring in applicants, because you need a team of 4, 8. I talked to Jackson yesterday. He's like, dude, we're ripping 13 technicians. I'm like, man, that's an army he's got. So like,
crazy.
They've been a multi-year process making content, bringing people in that fit the brand. So it all comes just down to people. And if I could tell a young guy like you, just live on less personally so you could build an empire. And I think if you do that for a few years, I think that'll serve you really good.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, it's what's been nice this year so far. I haven't had to pull money, because I got like a tiny bit of money just from the socials, but now I'm living out in Kelowna, so we'll see. We might have to.
It's more expensive there, man. So you came from, was it Whitehorse?
Yeah, Whitehorse. That's where my family lives. So I was, living with them. But yeah, now we're in the big pond,
Man, I'm curious, how did your decision go arriving on Kelowna?
Yeah, so I actually talked to Jackson about this quite a bit, but a big piece was the market. I was either thinking Kelowna or Victoria, somewhere in BC. Vancouver's nice, that's where you're at. But yeah, I like the cities, Victoria, Vancouver. I think market-wise, Victoria was almost better. Like, there's less competition. But then I was talking to Jackson, and he's like, you know what, just get as close as you can to Dan Martel. I'd also visited Kelowna for like a month last year. Really loved the city. And then I realized too, you know, there is a lot of companies down here, especially compared to Whitehorse, where we had like 2-3 other guys. But that just, you know, it really just means there's a market for it, and we just have to, you know, do it better.
Sure.
Come in
know
with
how
a better
many
brand.
washing companies are local where Revive is? Take a guess.
Couple hundred.
Yeah, 115 on last count.
Yeah. Wow.
It honestly shows, man. But if you look at, so my buddy, you know who Shackshine is, right? They're all over North America. So the biggest Shackshine franchise, my buddy actually built and exited 2 or 3 years ago.
Right, so you can sell a franchise.
He sold it, yeah. So right in my backyard, where there's 115 pressure wash companies, he built the biggest Shackshine company. So why is that? Where I live, I'm actually 40 minutes outside of the city core. So people who make good money in the city, like, that's a little hack here for your listeners. Like, I think building in the city core, fine, but if you can find those 30 minutes to an hour outside the city, like the suburbs,
right?
Dude, those places are honey hives. That's where I live, and like, dude, I get a door knocker at my door every week. Like, can I clean your windows? Can I do whatever? I'm like, yes, you can do anything. I love the mentality, because that's where I got started. But it's just like, you got to be strategic where you plant your business. And I think you've done a great job. Like, Kelowna, I think, is an excellent choice. I think your biggest thing, man, is going to be solving for seasonality, because you guys will get more snow than we'll get down here. But I think if you can either build like an 8-month-a-year cash cow business, go off to Asia and backpack and build that culture, that's fine. Or
I already did that.
Or you get into like lights or snow or janitorial or something
for sure.
that you just try shrink down that winter season, because I think if you get your right-hand person in place, they're going to want some form of year-round employment.
100%. They're going to need it, right? That's also why I was like, okay, we can't, you know, Whitehorse is not going to be it. It's going to rip 5 months of the year, maybe 6. But like, even the first month, the last month is just like momentum. We really get like 4 strong months, and I'm like, we can't build something big here.
Yeah, it's a nice hobby business. I think you saw that, but I think I think in Kelowna you could go March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and then you'd have to solve, I think, November, December, Jan, and Feb. What I did at Revive, Jan and Feb, we effectively made no money. I would just pay my year-round people salaries through those 2 months. It stung, but I knew for the other 10 and a half months we would be having revenue come in. So I just chose to eat it on that 6 to 8 week period. But I don't know that I'd want to eat it much longer than a 2-month period. So it's just something I'd look at. How could you have money come in the winter?
Yeah, no, I think lights will be big. We're also going to be doing, like, we're starting to do quarterlies. So we're going to have to find a way to wash windows. It might be throwing water in a truck or just doing traditional, but yeah.
The other thing, man, I'd push you on, given your like platform you've got going on, I would really look at doing some kind of a local meetup for entrepreneurs in Kelowna. I think Dan's obviously done a great job with this, with his weekly hikes at the mountain. I think if Louis looked at, just throw a date on the calendar, man. One member I'm working with in my program, his name is Danny. He's got 92 people, man, coming to his networking thing. He just put on Facebook, and it's just like,
wow.
They're done with BNI. They're tired of online. That if you can make something free, local, come out, we're going to connect, have a beer, whatever. Like, if you could make yourself the hub of this community over the next few years, I think that would serve really well. So if I was you, for marketing wise, for your own growth, I would look at doing something like that. And I did this, man, when I was your age. I was literally upset that there's this water crisis in the world that I started hosting bangers on New Year's Eve, and I charged people $45 at the door.
Okay.
I raised 24 grand throwing parties for New Year's. So it's just like when you can put yourself in a hub, because all young people wanted to party on New Year's. We called it Party for a Purpose. And like we did 5 parties over the course of 3 or 4 years. And it's just like, if you can put yourself in the middle and build a cause everyone wants to be part of, people will come to something like that. So I would encourage you to dive deep in the community and maybe do a monthly or quarterly meetup. I think it'd go really well.
Okay. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I guess back on what you're up to and stuff like that. I'm curious why you why you decided to go all in on HSBC.
Yeah.
That was pretty recently.
It was. So, I got...
Because, like, I guess you were probably making a little bit of, Revive was just kind of running and you were making a little bit of money off it.
Yeah, so Revive was running with what I call, like, the cash flow management model the last 4 years. It ran largely without me. I had 2 managers on a profit share agreement, so they were running it while they were incentivized to get bonus pay quarterly based on how well the company did. But I found Louis around 2022 when I hired Jackson, basically, HSBC started really growing, like more than I ever thought, man. Originally, it was just Fridays. I would do 8 Zoom calls in a row and charge people $250 a pop. So by dinner time, I had made a couple grand, and I'm like, this is sick. But after 3 months, man, I got so tired doing 8 one-to-ones in a row. So then I went with a group model, and then that was good. But then I had over 40 people, and it got too much for Dave to handle. So I said, okay, we got to start putting coaches in place and really growing something. So around 2022, it really started growing, and it got almost not too much to manage. But the following year, 23, our son Beckham was born, and I just found having... It's what Hermosi calls your shower thoughts, right? So, the business is running without Dave, but this employee's pissed off at this one, and a van got in an accident, and we had WorkSafe show up at a job site. And you're just like, all these things the team's dealing with, but there's still my name on the lease and on the vehicles and on everything. So it was around the last couple years, year and a half, I got a lot more serious about finding the right buyer for the business, because I didn't want to just, fire sale it, or I just came realistic that to grow a consulting business, to be a present dad and still have Revive going, it just found to me like I juggled on that bike for a year and a half, 2 years, and it just came to the point that I didn't feel I could do all 3 of those well. And so unfortunately, Revive was the decision that I had to put a new CEO, a new owner in place. And people will ask, Louis, why didn't you just put a manager in and have it run? Like, I did that for 4 years, and it worked totally fine. But it just, at a certain point, I think a small business needs an owner like yourself that's in it every day. They're first in, last out. They're pushing the thing. And I think if you don't have equity, it's hard to get someone to do that. So, I'll keep ripping. I listed the business, was it last summer? And man, I got 112 people reaching out, like wanting to learn more about it. So it definitely...
Did you use like a business broker or something like that?
I actually
like you
did
had
it.
An agent?
I actually did it all by myself. So the agent quotes I got was about 10% of the sale, which I felt like selfishly, man, I wanted to learn the process, because like it's not really a secret, but where I think HSBC is going to go long term is looking at investments into some of the brands that we're building. I kind of wanted to, I bought a business before. I wanted to learn the sales side of it. And so I actually went without a broker. Plus I'm going to put an ad up and see, I might get a few responses. And when my phone was blowing up with people wanting info, I'm like, okay, I actually don't think I'll need a broker, because there's like enough interest here. So I went through the whole process. I ended up having about 15 NDAs sent out. I had 4 written offers and selected the successful candidate late last year. We had a letter of intent, which is like, I want to buy your business. Here's the terms. I signed off on that early in January, and then we pounded out.
So that was them, that they give you a letter of intent.
Yep. So
they put the numbers in.
They put all the numbers in, the payment schedule.
Okay.
Any modifications. They actually were they basically didn't want me coming back into starting a window cleaning business right here in South Surrey where I'm located, because it makes sense. So I signed on. That was a big thing for them. A couple other little things which I was like, this is important to me, this is important to them. So that was signed January of this year. And then we pounded out in like 9 weeks what's called due diligence, which is like they're talking to my accountant, we're retaining a lawyer, we're making a purchase and sale agreement, we're going through everything Revive's done the last 7 years, from like,
that's so crazy.
What happened? It was honestly wild. Like it was.
You had to go through all the books and
everything, man. Like you're literally opening up everything to the buyer. And we did what's called, this will be relevant for you, man. You're in Canada.
Yeah.
If you ever exit Arctic one day, I would really push you to look at doing a share sale versus an asset sale. I can talk about that for a minute if you want me to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So
in Canada today, it changes all the time, but on last count, you can sell your business up to $1.2 million tax-free in a share sale. Yeah. So what I did was, it was in I had 3 or 4 really important criteria in the buyer. One for me was I wanted a buyer that was okay with me doing a share sale. Because if you do an asset sale, say you sell your business, let's just say round number, for $500,000, you're gonna have to pay tax on, which in a
especially
high tax
if you're
bracket,
in BC, eh?
It's a lot, man. It's a couple $100,000. So if you can go share sale tax free, it makes a lot of sense. Now here's the issue on the buyer side, man. A lot of buyers don't want to do a share sale because if you don't trust the seller, let's say that Revive had a lawsuit from 3 years ago, which we didn't, but let's just say we did. If I didn't tell the buyer about that, he's taking over all the liabilities from the business. So if something comes up with that lawsuit, that's now on the new buyer. So the seller kind of excuses themselves of all legal liability, everything. So a lot of buyers just say, Louis, I just want your client list, your trucks, I want your jobber, but I'm not touching any of your business accounts or any legal dealings, nothing. So it takes a lot of like good faith for buyer seller to work out a share sale. So that was
so what's the like share sale versus an asset sale?
It's just like how it's structured legally. So the share sale means the seller gets their money tax free, but the buyer has to take over some of these potential liabilities. The asset sale is almost safer for the buyer, but it kind of screws the seller. At least in Canada, you'll have to pay a fair bit of tax. So, I had 3 or 4 like non-negotiables for me, and that was ideally one of them. And I had a couple others, but yeah, it's just important if you're in Canada, the structure of the business. And I also retained a lawyer to do the legal on this, which wasn't cheap, but basically was able to craft up a share sale agreement.
Sweet. And obviously you can't drop the number. Yeah. Above six figures though.
Yeah, so it was above 6 figures, and it was above 100K, but it wasn't $1 million. So I will leave the viewer wondering where. But effectively, what we did, we looked at the profit the company made, and I looked at it this way: if I could get 3 years of my profit paid up today in a share sale, cash deal, the owner myself is not staying on. It's an ideal core value fit for the buyer. That was a deal that I was willing to take. So we structured out a 3x EBITDA, papered it, cash deal, no financing, share sale, done. So yeah, March 6th.
So you got 3x?
Yeah, March 6th, I actually sold it. I didn't publicly announce it till like the 9th of May. I think our team posted about it. But Yeah, it was a wild ride. I'd do it all again. And it kind of gives you, man, a bit of a taste for like, I started the business with $3,000.
Yeah.
I built systems. So my, return on my money would have been, I don't even know what the number is, 100, like more than 100x to grow this thing, automate it and sell it. And it's just like the fact that we now teach people like yourself how to do that. Like I would never push to just grow it and then exit right away. But if you could cruise it like I did for a few years, see what your next opportunity is. In my case was consulting, get that going. And then when you can exit one day, it's just the coolest thing that you can like create something from nothing, put a team in place and then sell it. And that was the biggest thing the buyer liked. They loved the team that I had in place.
Right.
It's the biggest thing they loved. Was
So
the
a lot
team
of
that was in place.
a lot of the team is still ripping there.
Yeah, the whole team stayed in place for the deal.
That's awesome.
I passed out a couple bonus checks to our key people.
Yeah.
Which was like the coolest thing, man. Like, thanks for staying on board. I said this is from me and the new owner. Just helping with a great transition. Here you go. And it's just, when you can find people that are loyal to you and help you build this thing, I think you got to turn it around and give some gifts back to them. And that's just like,
for sure,
my own core values, man. I think in business, we read on social, like squeeze people, get every dollar. Like I personally think always leaving a bit of money on the table with some goodwill is like a good thing. People even tell me in my program, they're like, dude, it's way too cheap. Like franchises sell your stuff for $50K. I'm like,
right.
I don't even care because I know the little guy's strapped for cash and I just want to help out the industry. And we charge people enough that they show up and do the work, but we don't charge enough that they have to go remortgage their house or take out a huge loan. So I think you just got to like see where your values are in business and like structure the business around your own values.
Yeah. What did it feel like when, I've heard a bunch of stories that like, after guys sell their businesses, I guess you had something else going, but like a lot of guys have like, one thing and then they sell it and they're like, what do I do?
So I talked to a mentor of mine. His name is Mike. He was on my podcast. He built a $32 million electrical business, and he also built.
What's his last name?
Mike Aguilera. You should bring him on.
Okay.
He'd love to come on. He also built like one of the biggest consulting businesses for HVAC plumbers, electricians called CEO Warrior, and he sold that business. Couple years. I feel like everyone sold in like 2022. I'm not sure when he sold exactly, but he said like you never sell your business. He said you sell yourself into a bigger opportunity. That's always stuck with me because I think, man, I'm 36 today. I love golfing. I love going for happy hours. I love going out for coffee every day. But for me, like I'm a dad now. My little guy's 2. If he sees his dad chilling around at the coffee shop, accomplishing nothing all day, I'm just like, what kind of an example does that set? So for me, it's now about impact, building something bigger. And I built my whole program around what Dave needed when he was doing 155K a year. And how did he grow? How did he systematize? How did he exit? That's what our program now does. So it's like, it didn't feel like I'm depressed on the couch eating Cheetos. It was like, man, I now have one business, which already had success with me running 2 businesses. I'm like, now's time to go pedal to the floor and see what we can really build in this industry. So it's more like inspiring now. And I feel like my wife's told me I'm definitely more like mentally like there, which is like always good too, just to have one business. Because when it ballooned up, I had 18 staff in both companies.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's just a lot. It was a lot to deal with. So I'm kind of, I definitely don't have any regrets. That's for sure. And I'm still like friendly with the owner, right? He'll text me.
Nice.
We'll chat about whatever. We're actually at a wedding for one of our Revive employees, hanging out at the same table. It's just like, it's like so cool when you have that transfer of ownership and like both parties are super stoked. So I'm really happy how it's went.
Sweet. Question I ask like a lot of guys. Obviously, a lot of success in home service, stuff like that. But like, you know how it is, the home service roller coaster. Like I feel like especially in home service, a lot of stuff goes wrong. Unhappy clients, damage, guys quitting. Did you have any like obviously you did, but like some crazy lows
100%,
that you can hit us with? I know you painted the wrong house, stuff like that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, for 16 years, I was gonna joke, man. No issues over here. But I think people think like you build systems or get a great person, and it's all like running smooth. Like one of my best social posts that popped off was just me chunking out in bullet point form. Here's all my biggest failures. That jobber called me up. They're like, can you teach a session for all our sales team on how Dave screwed up? I'm like, I would love to. So I just ripped it for an hour for this audience of all my screw ups. So man, like you name it, we've done it. Like car accident, like fall off a roof. I had a guy fall off a roof into a prickle bush. He was fine, but that sucked. Car accidents, we've caused it and been hit. Broken windows, employee issues. We've broken a glass solarium. We've gouged a deck. We've etched concrete. Man, it's just like you could make it up. Been there, done that. Insurance claim, lawsuit, everything.
Lawsuit.
We've done everything. So I think, I'm not in this coaching position saying it's easy. It is like such a brutal grind to push through it. But when you push to that other side of like grit and determination, I think that's truly what creates greatness. Because people, man, they go on social and they watch some bro on YouTube that says it's easy and they get misinformed. So I'm trying to make my stuff actually like most people fail because it's super hard. Most people never exit, and it's very difficult to even get off the tools. So I just think if you have the resilience gene, you'll find a way to figure it out. And you'll also, man, at a certain point, it's not that you'll stop caring about problems. The first thing I do in the morning, I'm thankful for being alive. But I also think my first thought, man, is literally what problems am I going to fix today? Because it's just like, I don't expect to cruise through my day problem free. I'm going in.
You kind of got to hope for it, right?
Dude, I hope for it. I expect it because I know if I want to bring big value, I got to solve big problems. And I solved problems in Revive for 8 years.
Yeah.
Now I solve problems in 170 service businesses across North America. I'm just like, we got our coaching call in 40 minutes. I'm like, an hour to help fix people's problems. Like what a blessing that is. So I think when you can pivot how you think about problems, that they're actually opportunities disguised in hard work, you change your whole posture to life. So I just don't expect smooth sailing. I expect a shitstorm every day and to fix problems. And when you expect that, you roll into dinner and you're like, there actually was only 2 or 3 things today. I was expecting a lot worse. So I think once you go around the base path, man, for me, year 4, we painted the wrong house. We washed the wrong house. We had our first car accident. Ladder fell through a window. That was the first, dude. We did 315 grand in painting in 5 months in the summer.
Okay.
So I was 22 years old, and we were ripping 12 painters, and I didn't have systems. I just wanted to make the money, and I was working nonstop, and we made all the mistakes. And it was that summer I learned, I'm like, man, a lot of stuff can go wrong in business. So you don't hope for it, but I think mentally
you got to learn it somehow, right?
Yeah, and you just expect it. And I think today, man, our culture is so soft and scared of anything hard that if you, like I saw you posted, you got a race coming up soon, man. I'm just like, when you push into that tough zone and get uncomfortable, like you learn all those skills, and when you put those into business, you just become unstoppable.
For sure. I know you're like probably stacking a bunch of meetings.
I got another 10, 15, man. So I'm okay.
Sweet.
if you wanna hit another 1 or 2
topics.
Yeah.
Let's keep getting into it. I want to ask you about the future stuff that you got going. Obviously, HSBC is a big focus for you now. You got the book coming out. What do you kind of got in the pipeline?
Yeah, those are. I mean, professional wise, man, like HSBC's got my brain. I think obviously it's my job as CEO to future proof the company. So I think we're seeing a huge shift in coaching right now with AI. So these are things I'm reading up on every day, you know, seeing what
Like
a guy
AI
like you,
in home service.
yeah, like would a guy like you not do our program and just go on Delphi or Grok or ChatGPT and get all your answers. So I'm
Right.
pushing into now, because we've had a couple of big competitors actually like not close their doors, but definitely, you know, we'd have people on discovery calls say I'm choosing between HSBC and this other one, and now we're not hearing that anymore. So there's a lot of changing landscape in our space, but I'm extremely bullish on this business, and the reason, man, is because I think there's going to be a migration back to blue collar jobs, given, you know, my little guys too. My wife and I joke like what his job's going to be. I'm like, one, I don't know growing up in our home he's going to be programmed to want to get a 9 to 5. I just don't think he will. The other thing though is like I don't think he's going to go to college. I really don't. And that's not because he's not smart enough. He can go if he wants, but I just think you look at the online education space, and I think the whole traditional dude, yeah, I think college, universities, I think in the next decade it's going to be a migration to online. And I think you look at electrical companies, washing companies, they're all growing year over year, the industries all across the US, Canada, Australia. So I'm trying to build a platform, and we're just starting in the washing niche because that's my background. But I want to build like this platform.
Yeah, I noticed that's like almost everyone in the program is like
81% of our members are tied to an exterior clean. So it's 80-20. But I think long term, there's an opportunity to build out this platform company that as you have more people coming into trades, you know, they've got to learn the business side. 80% don't even get to 500K. So I think there's a play in us building this education platform that coaching's amalgamated in, but I think there's an education component that puts someone's business in a box, and rather than them buy a franchise, they can come work with HSBC and get access to not just info, but the other push I'm really pushing hard with our junior program is this migration to community. And I think that's something that you'll never get on a ChatGPT or on Grok. Is like, I saw you just met up with Brad, man, and it's just like, how do you become that company that people actually go and meet up together? So I'm trying to spend the next decade and build that out. And it's been a very fun journey because it's a very profitable business. It's very rewarding. It's, you know, I can work remotely. And
it's high leverage, right?
Yeah, and it's also one that has some pretty big dogs in our space, like pretty interested in what we're building too, which is like, you know, it's not a business I'd want to grow and sell next year, but I think, you know, long term, I think there's going to be some enterprise value here that one day could look at something cool. But again, I told my wife, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. I just always want to be building something. That's just how my brain works. So yeah, you know, big picture, man, the book fits into the umbrella. It's going to be licensed through Home Service Business Coach. I've taken almost 3 years to write that thing. I had AI rewrite it, and it actually was pretty shitty, so I threw that out and went back to just the Dave Moerman words. And so, I'm hitting the studio to record an Audible version of it, and then we're building out an online toolkit for people to have access to. And I just got, haven't publicly announced, but I got a pretty big dog in to write the book forward, which just landed in my inbox. I was pretty stoked with that. So
can we get any hints, or is that like?
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. He co-founded a little software business called Jobber. So I got got Sam. Sam. I mean, it's not a secret. Sam wrote the foreword for my book, which is is a story for another day. But it's a good lesson on a young guy like you, man. Like, not being shy and just reaching out to people, because I DM'd Sam on LinkedIn 3 years ago and asked him for some stuff, and ended up getting lunch with him, getting to speak at Jobber, partnering with Jobber, and now he wrote my book forward. So all from a little kid in Canada who just had the balls to say, why don't I message a massive tech entrepreneur in the country.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you if you had any if you've had any like big mentors before you.
Dude, tons.
You know, I think it's always important to have like a coach, stuff like that.
Yep.
But like more in the washing, like when you're growing Revive.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, absolutely. My first mentor was a fellow named Josh Latimer. You can Google him. He's came out of actually Russell Brunson's like inner circle.
Okay.
And Josh was just getting in coaching back in whenever I crossed paths with him. I think 2017. He had a podcast, and I learned from him. I paid him to coach me. I did his program.
Do you think you should always pay?
Always. I'm Dutch, man, so like I'll do someone's free thing until I'm like ready to dive in. So Josh, I probably ripped 30, 40 podcast episodes where he's like, I have my boot camp, I have my systems, you should join, and you get a coaching call with me. I'm like, done. So
yeah,
I think you kind of like, where this inflection point is where I've like ripped this person's free stuff. Now I just need to put on my big boy pants and like join the paid. So I think that's usually what I'll do. But yeah, I worked with Josh. Man, this is how like weird I am. My buddy Brandon, he was building $1 million window cleaning business when we were doing 100K.
What was the company?
Is
it A+?
Yeah, A+. Yeah.
No way.
So man, back in 2018, Brandon, I saw his business growing. I friended him. I messaged him. He said, dude, you should come up here and hang out. I ended up sleeping in his guest room for a couple days. And he got me cleaning glass, which I sucked at. I saw how he quoted. He showed me how he organized his vans. I filled up a notebook, man. And then the next year, we went to a conference together. We split on an Airbnb. Again, filled up a notebook, took him back to the team. So I don't know that there's been a time in my life, man, where I've not been like investing to some degree time and money for my own learning and growth. So Josh was huge. Brandon was huge. Man, I was the fifth client, I believe, of a little company called Breakthrough Academy.
I know Breakthrough.
Yep. So my buddy started that, and I was one of their like tester guys early on. And I was like, hey, I have this idea called Revive. They're like, you should probably check out our coaching program, build some systems. So
they're
really
big systems guys, eh?
Yeah, man, fundamental in SOPs. So I actually worked with Danny, the co-founder. He helped me structure and systematize. So I got to give him credit. So I'm literally, man, just like a walking poster boy of these like deposits from all over of people I've learned. I've chatted to Tommy. I've read his books. I've read the EMyth 13 times. I've learned so much from Coach Jackson. I've learned a lot from
Jackson's
Brandon.
Incredible.
Dude, yeah. It's just like,
I don't know how because like he's continuing to grow his company and he's got like 40 guys too in the coaching. It's crazy.
Yeah,
he's always just so chill, you know. He doesn't seem very.
He doesn't get stressed. We trade back and forth who beats each other in golf because he's got a crazy good drive. But it's so funny, man. To share a quick story, in 2022 when we were really growing, my wife's dream was to always go on this like vacation to Greece because I never backpacked through Europe because I was always like, it costs too much money. No, but that was the year I'm like, all right, babe, we're gonna buck up and do this. So we go to Greece, and I'm like, what am I gonna do with my coaching calls? And it was actually my wife, man. She's like, you should look at Jackson as like a coach for HSBC. Like, I really think he could be the guy. So I chatted to him, and the first time we were in Greece, I remember sitting on this balcony, and I'm reviewing Jackson's coaching calls. He has like 35 guys on there, and I was almost just speechless. Like, this guy is so gifted for coaching that I used to think Dave was HSBC, and now I'm like, no, Dave's part of HSBC, but I have a stud of a coach. And now 3 years later, we're like not just good friends, but he's just like helping me blow up this business. So I just like, to my point, you can learn from someone even if you're paying them as one of your team members. So I think it's just like super cool to be a sponge anywhere you go.
Right. Sweet. Well, I think that's a good That's a good way to end it. Any final kind of, I'll give you the stage here. Anything you feel like we didn't touch on as much that, you think is valuable for the guys out there, or anything you want to drop about, what you're up to?
I think so, man. I think the caution I'd give is, I kind of spent my 20s just working my tail off to set up a better future for myself and my family. And we say that, but I was a guy like you, man. How old are you now?
19.
You're 19. Crazy. So when I'm 19 in my 20s, I was always like, I want to get married and have a family and have life set up, be successful. And I had no idea what that meant. And literally, man, yesterday, it was a Thursday morning, and I'm sitting down. My wife ran off to the gym, ran some errands, and I'm at the park with my little guys. 10:05 in the morning. The park's completely dead, and we're just sitting having a snack. And I'm just like, I'm 36. I sold my business. I have another business that runs without me. I've got investments. I've got a great marriage. I'm a dad, and it's all powered, man, from working my tail off in my 20s and living on less than I actually made, and being smart with investing and not buying. I could have bought a dream car when I was 22, and I never did, man, because I was always dreaming of this future state. And it was for me yesterday, I was just sitting with my son and reflecting. I'm like, this is crazy, man, that if you grind when you're young and follow what Hermosi says and build up this asset, your 30s, man, it's the most beautiful. And it's not that I don't have problems in my life, I still do, but I think you can get to this place in life of just full peace, where you can sit at the park midday on a work day. You don't have to ask a boss permission, and you can just be fully present with your kids. So as much as business success and money and everything, that's great. I'm way more wired, man. I think wealth is a 2-part equation: income plus time. Time freedom equals wealth.
Yeah.
And you're making good money, man. I know you'll make good money in the next few years. I'm just telling you, balance out that time equation, because your future partner, your future kids, if you want a family, they're gonna be so thankful you busted your tail through your 20s.
I'll be honest, I thought you were gonna say the opposite, and you're gonna be like,
What?
I busted my ass in my 20s, and then suddenly I was 30. But
No, man. I think
you really think that's the time to work.
100%, man. I don't think through my 20s I worked less than 50 hours a week. I really don't. I'm not the guy to say do 100 and sleep in your office, and that's a different level. But for me, dude, I worked Saturday mornings for a decade. Just what else are you gonna do? So I think things shift when you find a partner, and when you become a family, man, things shift for sure. But I think I can only do that now because of how hard I pushed through my 20s. So I would just say, instead of buying flashy stuff or doing lavish trips, I love what you're doing, man. Build a brand, live on a little less, plant your flag in a big area that's growing, and let's wind Louis up for 3 to 5 years and see where you end up. I think you're going to be 25, man, and have a freaking empire. I really do, because I see what you're doing. I see what you're doing in the space. And as soon as you joined our program, I texted Landon. I'm like, man, I love this kid. It's gonna be a great fit.
Appreciate
so I think,
it. Yeah.
If I see anything you're doing wrong on social, I'll let you know. But I think so far what I see,
I appreciate it.
I love how disciplined you are in this niche, and I think you're gonna build up an empire. And I would just say, grow it, but at some point, let's get really serious. What's on the bottom line too, because that's what's gonna make your company valuable.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I realized this year, especially growing and hiring more people. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, there's years, brother, you're gonna be climbing and growing the rev, and there's other years you're gonna be camping. And I think it's okay if you got 25 and 2026 are climbing years, and maybe 27 we want to camp a bit and flush out that bottom line a bit. So I think. Yeah, it's kind of tough to have it all in a given year. So just optimize for what the goal is. I think you're in a growth year, and I think we're not super stressing on what's on the bottom line, because you're just growing this thing right now, and that's totally fine.
Sweet. Well, where can people find you? We'll link everything up HSBC. But if someone wants to reach out, I don't know. Do you want people to reach out or?
Yeah, I'm always happy, man. I'd say anywhere home service business coach like that. That's gonna be my team. I actually just picked up Instagram maybe 3 or 4 months ago, my personal one. So it's just David James Moerman, and I'm on there checking it. That's where people have been DMing me lately. Is just been hanging out on there. So, but no, man,
Sweet.
thanks for having me on. I felt this was kind of a little mini coaching session for you. So hopefully, we both learned something here. I think.
Appreciate it, man. Yo, big time. That's always what I get out of these. I'm like, yeah, it's a pleasure. So appreciate you coming on, and everyone listening. Everything's in the description. Go check out Dave. Appreciate the coaching program, man. Yeah, it's been big for us. So
Love it,
peace.
brother. Keep on crushing. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.